Good day, everyone. I'm Arge Esquivel, and I'll be presenting on behalf of my colleagues from UP Resilience Institute the Hazard and Vulnerability Assessment of Social Support Facilities in rural and urban barangays in the Municipality of Padre Garcia, Batangas. Padre Garcia is a second-class municipality in the province of Batangas. It is bounded by Lipa City in the northwest, Municipality of San Antonio, Quezon in the northeast, and the Municipality of Rosario, Batangas in the south. At the regional scale, Padre Garcia is classified as a local center compared to its neighboring areas which function as sub-regional and provincial centers. Padre Garcia is known as a livestock and poultry producer and for its animal auction market. The existing livestock and poultry production in the area caters to the demand of the urban barangays of Batangas, other provinces in the region, Metro Manila, and even other countries in the Pacific region. Its importance at the provincial level was highlighted when Taal volcano erupted in January 12, 2020, when the municipality opened its gates and sheltered hundreds of their fellow Batangueños. The municipality of Padre Garcia has a total land area of 4,151 hectares divided into 18 barangays. The green dots represent the 15 rural barangays, while the 3 red dots indicate the urban barangays. The classification is based on 3 categories. First is a population size of 5,000 or more. Second is the presence of at least one establishment with 100 employees. And third is the presence of 5 or more establishments with 10 employees and 5 or more facilities within the 2-kilometer radius from the barangay hall. Barangay San Felipe and Banaba fall under the second category, while Poblacion is under the third category. As of 2015, Padre Garcia has a population of 48,302 with 22.52% in the urban and 77.48% in the rural barangays. In the same year, the densest urban barangay in Padre Garcia is Poblacion, while Tangob is the densest rural barangay. Conversely, the least dense urban barangay is San Felipe, while Maugat East is the least dense in the rural areas. The population of Padre Garcia has significantly increased since its foundation in 1949 and will continue to increase in the coming years. The population is predominantly rural from 1990 to 2015. However, urban population had a higher annual average growth rates in 2007 and 2015. One of the reasons for the decline in the number and growth rate of urban population in 2010 was due to the development of residential subdivisions in rural areas. To promote the social welfare of every Garcianos, the local government provides a range of social services to the entire municipality. These social services include various facilities for education, health, social welfare, sports and recreation, and public order and safety. The local government of Padre Garcia has 173 facilities that currently support the social sector of the municipality. Social support facilities play an instrumental role in the community as it allows accessible and equitable services that foster the social well-being of the people. Disaster increases the demand for social services. Hence, it is imperative to determine the susceptibility and vulnerabilities of these facilities to natural hazards and climate change. Susceptible and vulnerable social support facilities may pose post-disaster concerns that may diminish their capacity to provide access to critical goods and services. This table shows the number and average of social support facilities in the rural and urban barangays that were considered in this assessment. The Climate Change Act of 2009 states that the local government units should be the frontline agencies in formulating, planning, and implementing climate change action plans in their respective areas. Meanwhile, the Philippine Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Act defines disaster risk reduction and management as a systematic process of using administrative directives, organizations, and operational skills and capacities to lessen the adverse impacts of hazards and future disasters. The Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development released guidelines to assist the LGUs in climate and disaster risk assessment, or Cedra, and mainstreaming its results to the land use plan. The Cedra framework included in the guide was used in the conduct of this study, particularly in steps 1 to 4. The climate and disaster risk assessment is a process of studying risks and vulnerabilities to natural hazards and climate change of exposed elements, such as people, urban areas, natural resource-based production areas, critical point facilities, and lifeline utilities. The diagram shows a six-step process of Cedra. The process aims to determine the vulnerable and at-risk elements using science-based information, exposure, sensitivity, and adaptive capacity. The results of Cedra serve as basis in the identification of areas that require risk-sensitive policy interventions. The first step involves the use of various hazard maps and employed mixed methods for data collection and analysis. The data collected were analyzed using computer-aided hazard modeling and sieve mapping. The second step summarizes climate change and hazard information. Furthermore, this involved identifying probable impacts of climate change and hazards that would affect various sectors in the municipality. An impact chain diagram was created by stakeholders to illustrate the physical, economic, social, and environmental implications of climate change and disasters to various sectors in the municipality. The exposure database included detailed baseline information on the potentially exposed elements in the municipality. The map shown on the screen is the existing land use map of Padre Garcia, which was used as an input parameter in assessing vulnerabilities and risks in the municipality. This map shows the location of social support facilities in the municipality of Padre Garcia. Vulnerability is defined as the degree to which a system is susceptible to or unable to cope with adverse effects of climate change, including climate variability and extreme events. It is a function of exposure, sensitivity, and adaptive capacity. The study assessed the vulnerability of 173 social support facilities for flood hazards using baseline scenarios and climate change projections for three rain return periods, namely 5, 25, and 100 year. Climate change projections used were RCP 4.5 and 8.5. RCP, or Representative Concentration Pathways, provide time-dependent projections of atmospheric greenhouse gas concentrations. Based on the UP NOAA Center hazard simulations, Padre Garcia is exposed to low, moderate, and high levels of flooding across all scenarios, affecting both rural and urban barangays. The opposite is the case for rainfall-induced shallow landslides. As a relatively flat area, landslide exposure is limited at the riverbanks of rural barangays. There are 45 social support facilities in urban barangays of Padre Garcia. This table shows a summary of the vulnerability assessment for different scenarios. The barangay halls have low to moderate vulnerability across all return periods and scenarios except RCP 8.5 2079 100 rain return period. The daycare centers and health centers, on the other hand, have the same vulnerabilities across all rain return periods and scenarios. Hospitals have low to moderate vulnerabilities across all rain return periods and scenarios except baseline scenario 5 and 25 years, where both hospitals have low vulnerability. Generally, other social support facilities have increasing vulnerabilities as the rain return period and scenario increase. For rural barangays, The study assessed 128 social support facilities. The assessment results show a general trend of increasing vulnerabilities across rain return periods and scenarios. Consistent with the map that I showed earlier, the results of the vulnerability assessment for the landslide hazard does not vary much across climate change adjusted scenarios. One possible explanation is that the landslide hazard extent of different scenarios have very little differences. This is the results for the Rural Social Support Facilities Vulnerability Assessment to Rain-Induced Landslides. In summary, I'd like to highlight three main points. First, all barangays in Padre Garcia have basic social support facilities that support their population. However, urban barangays have a higher average number of facilities than their rural counterpart. Second, most facilities have low to moderate vulnerability levels. And third, vulnerability of facilities to flood hazard varies in level across RRPs and RCPs, but vulnerability to landslide hazards are the same across all scenarios. These are the references that I used in my presentation. That's all. Thank you for listening.